Folks, welcome to this all new series of Cast of Players. This series of Voxcasts designed to build up towards the launch of our second season of Cast of Players. And this is our opportunity to talk to you a little bit more about the world that has been created and to talk to the characters that will be populating the world and some of their backstories and how they have been devised. So, in the first of these episodes, I have with me today Mr. Bone, aka Ben, and we have the chef himself, aka Mike. So, Chef, you were the DM of the first season of Cast of Players.
Yes.
So, what I would like to do now is reveal to the audience the new Dungeon Master. It is Mr. Bone. He is the new Dungeon Master for Season 2 of Cast of Players. So what does this mean? Are we remaining in Valtor? Are we doing something completely new? Well, why don't we ask Mr. Bone what is happening?
Well, the time has come for me to take the reins, as it were. There may have been an arm wrestle that happened.
I won, but I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, actually, he hurt me so badly that they let me run a campaign. And what we're actually going to do is take a step away from Valtor for now, and we're going to run a campaign in a world that I have created named Arcadon. Very exciting. It's I'm very excited. I love doing this. Actually, my favorite part of Dungeons and Dragons is running campaigns. I don't mind playing in them. It's always really good fun, but I have a real desire to write a lot and direct and create things. And there's nothing better than creating a story and watching your fellow players tumble through it.
Stumble, fall, die horribly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very big on killing characters off. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So I hope you...
Might be a short campaign.
Might be a short campaign.
I have reserves.
So I might just, kill them all off very quickly, really. But so that's what's happened.
Okay, so Mr. Bone, you are going to be running this upcoming season of Cast of Players.
Yes.
But what we wanted to do for you guys in the audience is to talk a little bit about Valtor. For you fans already of season 1 of Cast of Players, we wanted there to be a handover, if you like, from one DM to another, because whilst we are not doing Valtor in season 2, the intention is to absolutely return to it. But at the end of Valtor, without giving too much away, although I would advise if you are interested in seeing season 1 of Cast of Players, I'd strongly advise that you actually watch all of that to its conclusion before this, because we may be about to reveal some spoilers.
Yes.
So Chef, we just wanted to know so that the audience can be told what's happening with the characters in Valtor at the moment at the end of the first season. The characters, there were some big reveals, and there was, I would say, a pretty large transitionary period coming up for Valtor in general.
Yes.
Not just the party involved. Some big reveals happened, right?
Huge.
So, can you let us know what's happening with the characters, and then that might maybe will set us up and give us an idea of where we might be going for season 3 of Cast of Players.
Yeah, sure. So, there will be some slight spoilers here, guys. I won't go through a complete rundown of what happened, because you should go and enjoy it for yourselves, 100%. Not just for the story, for the character interactions, just for the real banter, and delve into a little bit of TT history as well, because it was shot all in, over a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the time of filming this, pretty much we wrapped up about a year ago,
right.
which is nuts when you think about where we are now.
Yeah.
Took a long time to build this.
Tavern.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's just pause a moment.
Yeah.
Let's breathe it in.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So I'll try not to give away too much in the way of spoilers, but very briefly, we had our party of adventurers in Valtor. They met through some pretty tricky circumstances, but along the way, they kind of stumbled upon a plot as it were. A member of their group that they had met along the way was taken ill by someone from one of the characters' pasts, and they felt a duty to go and save this person. In doing so, a great secret about them was revealed. So this is where a big spoiler will be, guys. So I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to turn it off and go and watch it, and then you can come back. Essentially, Joanna was actually the princess of Nemos, one of the countries where the group were found. And the person that had poisoned them was an inquisitor from the rival empire of Talar, who had actually been tracking Anrakai, Lawrence's character, for many, many years, actually. And this had brought political tensions to a head. And when they had cured Joanna, or Alessa, as she is known by her actual name, this set into motion quite some political upheaval in the world, which is where we'll come back to now. So 6 months have passed since then, and essentially our group of reluctant heroes that were pulled together have found themselves spread out a little bit more. So, I mean, I can go into some details about where they might find themselves now and where they might come back, or we can leave that for the first episode of season 3. It's up to you guys.
Well, what do you think would be appropriate?
I think it might spoil it a little bit.
Okay, well, we perhaps should reveal exactly what.
Don't want to reveal too much, and I'd obviously want to. And this is something.
I will reveal that Griffin and Alyssa have obviously got married. It was the only thing that was obviously ever going to happen. So you know, if you were looking forward to that, I mean, the wedding was great. We all had a good time.
So it's always, that's the sort of thing where I would be consulting with the players as well to find out what they would like their characters to be doing, especially when doing a time skip. But in my mind, they have been brought back together in order to attend essentially a political meeting between all of the nations of Valtor as a result of this upcoming war between Nemos and Talar. Hopefully to stop it before it all escalates. But, of course, there are numerous other doings afoot. There were many plots, plans, plot threads, and all kinds of dark magics that were discovered in their adventures. Again, this is something that you will have to find out for yourselves, guys. Just go and watch it. Just go and watch it. We had a lot of fun filming it. It was really, really good. Really good to get sort of the world out there, the characters that these guys created. Really, really fleshed everything out. But yeah, in terms of the worlds, I know that they're quite different, which is interesting, because I've always been quite a high fantasy type person with D&D worlds. I know you're generally quite a low, gritty fantasy.
We both prefer dark fantasy generally.
Yeah, dark fantasy is I like the feeling of danger at all times. And there's a couple of mechanics which will come into my campaign which is very different from the ways that you've done it, and I'm not going to go into that now, you guys will get to see that. But yeah, it's interesting. Mine is still quite a high fantasy world, but there's a very dark undercurrent that will start to come through the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I try and do the same thing, but I think it's always interesting to compare like DM styles, and it's why I enjoy both DMing and playing, because you get to experience both sides of it. And if you guys play D&D and you've never actually DM'd, give it a go. Honestly, it's so totally different, and DMs are always in such high demand as well, because everyone's always really scared of doing it. Don't be scared of doing it. Just give it a go. You know, anyone that sort of might, don't be afraid of being judged for DM, and just talk to your players, and get them to do it. If they think that they can do it better, let them crack on and do it. Exactly.
So based on this, obviously you speak about different DM styles. Obviously these are two completely different worlds now. I thought it would be cool to allow Bone the opportunity to talk a little bit about your world, and set you guys up for what you can potentially expect from Arcadon, because you're right, Chef. They are very different worlds. They feel quite different. I don't think that my character that I'm playing in Bones' world would kind of exist in yours. So you know, I've sort of built my character obviously specifically for this world. So let's talk about Arcadon. What do you want to know, Lawrence? Well, give us a feel of what it's about. What were your inspirations, if any?
So yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of different inspirations that have gone into this world. There's lots of different countries and cultures which I have borrowed pieces from real world Earth and put them into here. I guess the mythology of the world is based on ancient Assyrian sort of creation stories. Yeah. So essentially Arcadon is a massive supercontinent. There have been people who've left the continent to try to see if there's anything else out there. They either found something great and never came back, or there's nothing out there. But this continent is huge. In fact, if you were to walk on foot from one side to the other, it said it would take, you know, many summers and autumns of your life. So it's enormous. It's a very big place. In the beginning, I guess is where we should start. There was something called the World Tree, or Abahu. Now, Abahu, it was essentially an enormous tree that lived right smack bang in the center of Arcadon. And its trunk spanned countless, well, I think I wrote that it goes about 3 or 4 large metropolitan
areas.
Yes, thank you very much. It's
many leagues.
Many leagues. There's this huge trunk and it shot right up into the sky and no one could see it. The clouds covered all up there. Its bark was silver. And this was known as the World Tree. Now, from the heavens is when the gods descended upon the World Tree. They were called to it because they believed it had certain magical properties, and you'll learn more about that as we go on. But it was from these magical properties that the gods actually created the first people. And the first peoples were the Monkau, who are the humans of the world, the Durokan, who are the dwarves, and then the Ashai, who are the elves. Now, many things happened, but essentially there was a rift between what the gods believed the first people should be used for. And it actually led to a civil war called the War in Heaven, which divided the peoples of Arcadon and the gods of Arcadon in half. And without giving too much away, because I'll go into the proper history of it, there was a catastrophic ending to this war. Abahu was destroyed in the climactic event of it, and that kind of led to the gods leaving and the peoples of Arcadon being left to fend for themselves. So there's no, at any time, there's never been a doubt that the gods didn't exist. In fact, there's still monuments that they've created which are scattered around Arcadon. There's still writings of theirs which have been, you know, held in the certain libraries of the different realms all over Arcadon. Anyone who doesn't believe in the gods is considered mad. You know, so it's a very religious place, and the teachings of the gods, especially Bohana, who's also known as the architect, filter through into the everyday life of all of the races. Particular races will follow different kinds of gods, but Bohana is like the head god, as it were.
Right.
She's mother, you know. Right. So that is kind of like a brief description of the whole. It's very difficult because, like, I'm censoring myself as I'm speaking to you all because I don't want to be like. And then this really cool thing happened because, like, yeah. So there's lots of cool information that's going to come out in it, and that's why that seemed a bit jarring maybe when I was describing it. It was like, oh, and I can't say that. Oh, no, I can't say that. But yeah, it's magic is a big part of the world. Magic in the what you called yours the tide, I believe.
Yes.
Whereas I've gone for the more traditional name of mana.
Yeah.
And you know, in it, magic is a big part of the world, but it comes with consequences of use. And there's a whole story about there's positive and negative kind of energy, which is all infused into this big ball of energy which powers the world. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be very cool. There's all these different realms. Like you've got Durokan to the north, which is literally where they're dwarves. They don't have like a fancy name for their realm. They literally just named it after themselves. Right? and their capital is called the Keep. So and then you've got the realm of the Ashai Ahana.
Yeah.
which is the realm of the elves, and that's actually been built up around the centre where the remnants of Abahu still remain.
So they're sort of the guardians of Abahu.
They consider themselves the Ashai, the kind of chosen of Bahana, which is very contradictory to her teachings, but that's what they believe because they were the first actually to follow her. To the west, you've got the first kingdom of the Monkel, which is called Farundia, which is a really it's a huge sprawling city. It's not as beautiful as say some of the other cities there, but it's so big and there's so many walks of life that go into it. It's this huge melting pot, and it's run by the House Barristan, which is my shout out to one of my favourite shows ever and one of the best characters ever written in the books, not so much the TV show. Then there's all these other places as well. You've got an area called the Shattered Isles, which we'll learn a lot more about. You've got an area called which is this feverish jungle type sort of area to the east. To the desert wastes of the southeast, you've got Samsar, which has its own patron god, which is a place of really higher learning, but also martial prowess. I've been writing this for a really long time now, and it's dripping with information, and I'm really excited for you guys to get into the world, find out all about it, and see how you interact with it. So I guess that's a brief overview of what it's like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I for one am very excited to explore Arcadon. You know, it's always great. I also love DMing. In fact, that's how we began. I got bone in on one of my DMs, one of my Dungeons and Dragons sessions, and then you played the whole campaign.
Yeah, I sure did.
You know, and it's great fun DMing, but it's also so fun as a character, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where we can explore this new world.
When you get to see someone else's world, because you know what your world is, you know what what you kind of want to happen in the world in terms of, not necessarily of writing a story, but you know what's happened in the history, and it's interesting to see how characters will evolve that story.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the first time you read through, you know, a fantasy novel or a sci-fi novel and it's really hooked you. It's a similar sort of principle when you're a character in it, but it's different because you're like, I was there.
Yeah.
I did this.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about playing. And you can appreciate more of the world building once you've done the DMing side as well.
But that's what I like about building the worlds is you guys being there in the history and putting your own stamp on it. Like from a kind of performance sort of background, which you and I have particularly come from, it's always good when you're working and creating that you make something and then someone takes it and they run with it.
Yeah.
And then it improves and then it becomes yours, right? And I'm really excited, although I've written the history of this and the backstory and I will be taking you through this adventure, I'm really excited to see what you guys bring to it as well. Because for me, when I'm watching you guys roleplay, it's like watching a film or something like that, which I've made. So it's really cool.
Well, look, that all sounds very, very exciting indeed. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you both. The previous DM over to the new DM.
Yes.
So, coming up very, very shortly, you will see more of Oxcasts.
Handing
over of the Dungeon Master Guide.
Where's the player's handbook? You're going to need both.
Yes, it's true.
It's only symbolic.
And preferably a monster manual too.
Yeah. I've been using that.
So, coming up over the coming weeks, you will see individual Voxcasts covering the entire cast of players and their backstories for their characters, which will then culminate to the official kicking off of Season 2 of Cast of Players, which we're all very, very excited to show you. So, until next time, this has been Lawrence, Bone, and Chef, and we'll see you soon.